The gentlelady from Ohio is recognized for as much time as she may consume.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Ranking Members Waters. Thank you for all of your support and your leadership. Madam Speaker, I rise today in strong support of H.R. 3584, the Capital Access for Small Community Financial Institution Act as amended. Today I stand here joining my colleague from Ohio, Congressman Steve Stivers, in support of final passage of this bipartisan legislation. I thank the gentleman for introducing this bill on which I partnered as a lead Democrat. In show of bipartisanship, we were able to work together to have the legislation unanimously reported out of the Financial Services Committee, and certainly worth noting again, 55-0. Madam Speaker, H.R. 3584, if enacted, would permit privately insured credit unions to apply for membership in the Federal Home Loan Bank system. It would not, however, mandate that these privately insured credit unions become members of a Federal Home Loan Bank. Currently, out of roughly some 6,000 credit unions across the country, there are 132 privately insured credit unions operating in 9 states. States such as Alabama and California, Idaho and Illinois and Indiana, Maryland, Nevada, my home state of Ohio, and Texas. In particular, this bill would improve access to home mortgage loans for members of the 3 privately insured credit unions that are based in my 3rd congressional district of Ohio. H.R. 3584 is an extremely important piece of legislation for these privately insured credit unions because it would help give members and businesses greater access to credit in a tight credit market. Additionally, this legislation would also benefit the exclusive insurers of privately insured credit unions across the country, which is based in Central Ohio, just north of my congressional district, which provides employment for many Ohioans. Madam Speaker, in order to ensure the best drafted bill, Congressman Meeks and myself offered amendments that were accepted during the committee markup. My amendment does 2 things. First, it removes any language referencing the National Credit Union Administration from the text of the legislation, clarifying that this legislation would not grant any supervisory jurisdiction to the NCUA over privately insured credit unions. Secondly, it created a Government Accountability Office study and report to Congress on the adequacy of insurance reserves held by the private insurers of these credit unions, and also on the compliance of these credit unions with federal regulations requiring consumers to receive disclosures explaining that such credit unions are privately, not federally insured. These changes were supported by the NCUA and unanimously by the entire Financial Services Committee. Indeed, H.R. 3584, the Capital Access for Small Community Financial Institution Act, as amended, comes to the floor today because of the efforts of many members of the Financial Services Committee who worked to advance the legislation through regular order of the committee. I would urge support of H.R. 3584 because this bipartisan legislation is good policy. It's good for small credit unions, and it is an easy and effective way to demonstrate bipartisanship, nationwide support for local communities and businesses. Madam Speaker, I believe this legislation is a perfect example of the type of regular order committee-driven actions that we should use as a template for bipartisan cooperation in the House, and which, if enacted, would bring real benefits to the national housing markets. I urge all of the members to vote yes on H.R. 3584 as amended, and I yield back the balance of my time.